ardent believer in this drive. I therefore join Sir Shemori Badejo in this patriotic drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Sale, and today I'm joined by my amazing co-anchors. The house is full. It's ladies' night out. We have Uti, Milola, Elsie Godwin. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
How are we doing?
Good, good.
Where are we starting with? Honorable Milola.
Yeah.
Yes, online.
Why did you get me? I thought you were going to start
I love
because
my
I was coming
outfit, by
from
the
this
way.
way. Okay, Milola is online.
Milola
so.
is still, she's still producing clothes, in case you know.
Please, so nothing must
Patronize
happen to
our
my
market.
ministry.
We need money. We need money for politics.
to run.
Yeah, so
But I
What's
love
up?
my outfit. It's really nice.
looks good on you.
Yeah.
All our outfit looks good on you.
Yeah,
so.
it does actually. How are you
We
doing?
get you.
So
Good,
how is
good.
the election? The
campaigning.
campaigning process
I'm looking
going?
for money.
I know.
When I have my ministry, but it's good. I'm doing the little I can. You have to take it in stride, like I said the last time. There's only so much I can do by myself, so I need the help of my amazing co-anchor. So make it happen, please. You should help me tell them to come to Waterside, and not a one-time
You
trip.
haven't invited us.
What's happening in Waterside?
If you invite
That's where
us,
she's
we'll
from.
come.
You just made it worse.
Elsie,
But Elsie just buttresses
should
my
have-
point. If she had invited us, she would know.
really?
Yes.
Okay,
So you have
officially
done official invitation.
on her. You are fully invited
To Waterside.
to Waterside
Where is
in
Waterside?
Ogun State.
Ogun State.
It's not far.
Yes, no, it's a 3-hour trip.
Noted.
Good. Now,
Elsie
Huchi.
Godwin.
That laugh be like,
Very
you
cynical.
need to commit. Say okay.
Me.
Yes, now.
Uti is
Ask her
on
now.
Uti is always
She's
like,
ready.
Lola,
If
just
anybody
say,
is supportive
just say
on
it,
in
and
the
I'm
ways,
there.
ladies, just call me. Abi Uwa.
Yes.
She
So.
can testify.
Forever.
I'm
True.
here for you.
She's always ready.
You know, I'm the organizer, I'm the planner, I'm the, I can be posh if you want. I can be hey if you want.
you guys.
We're
have
all
it.
rounders.
She is actually very dependable.
Oh, well,
Elsie Godwin, how you looking at me? Yeah, we won! Super Eagles!
Nigeria, AFCON, 3 points. Elsie, what's the problem?
I was more excited than these people before. I don't understand.
Now they took it upon
I
themselves.
don't understand.
like they even watched the match
We did actually.
We're following you
We're
very
following you.
closely.
online.
Yeah.
Yes.
She said watch.
I do not know
But we could've watched
how
the match.
to
We
be a
had to be
patriotic
here.
Nigerian, but I will never spend my time to watch grown-up chasing inanimate objects. I can
like
never.
Auntie, please, we still want our show to be on air. Let them not yank us off air.
Okay. I rest my opinion on that matter.
But how are you,
The show
Elsie
begins.
Godwin?
I'm good. I'm alright. Glad to be here.
Awesome.
Conversation continues.
With the green
Absolutely.
hair.
Today we have an interesting
It's not showing
conversation.
much on the screen, you know.
We're asking questions, or are we allowed to ask questions? Yeah, that's the question. All right, and here's what we found as today's quote. The essence of statesmanship is not a rigid adherence to the past, but a prudent and probing concern for the future. So as was said earlier, we're discussing probing, asking questions. So although Nigeria has been active in signing and ratifying international human rights treaties, it has seen challenges when trying to implement these treaties domestically, especially in the case of freedom of speech and questioning our leaders. Communication is definitive factor in any type of relationship, especially between a nation in form of its leaders and its citizens. The act of asking our leaders questions and getting clear answers is not popular in Nigeria, and this raises a very big concern. So it's our ladies' night out, and Uti, Elsie, Milola, and I are discussing, are Nigerians truly free to ask leaders questions? And when we open our phone lines, we'd really love to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. All right, a single word will make the people around you a little warmer and happier. A thank you from the heart and an uttering kind words like a thank you note will show what kind of person you are. International Thank You Day is an annual event that is observed on January 11th of every year. Often we forget to tell a thank you as it is taken for granted. It is essential to show gratitude from the bottom of our hearts to those who made our lives better and happier. So thank you, ladies. I always say thank you.
This one.
Yeah.
Yesterday, what did you call this? What Hindu day? What did you call yesterday? No, this is beautiful because sometimes we really take our friends and family for granted.
Yeah, we forget.
And we just think, yeah, Shemina, my friend, you have to do it. I mean, I take our time to really thank people. Actually, those who are close to me and still believe in me, because it is hard to have people like that. Once you are on that proximity level, like they don't see your value anymore. So please thank people. I love this day.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving us this day.
Oh, thank you too. For thanking me.
Thank you for thanking her.
Okay. How about you, Milola?
It's good. I love it. I believe that we should say more of thank you. I tend to say thank you in my heart. I tend to appreciate people without saying it. So part of my resolution this year is to verbalize saying thank you and meaning it, really, not just in person. So it's a good day to celebrate.
Well, so I believe in thank you. I think it's a very short but very powerful phrase. I think I'm more conscious of it because by virtue of my nature, I tend to always feel like people don't say thank you because I go all out. But so I'm also very mindful of it. So because of that, I make sure I thank people. And a lot of the time I see, particularly in this part of the world, people don't feel that they need to say thank you to certain types of people. So I'm always very mindful of how I say
security
to people.
Guards,
people, you know, those kind of people, to always say thank you, because you don't take it for granted. I mean, even at home, when my nanny gives me water, I say thank you. When the first time I did one of my nanny, she was like,
It must have been
she was not expecting it.
So
She's probably not used
We
to
tend
it.
to ignore those people actually.
so it's important.
All right, so thank you. Thank you for watching
the
Waves.
Wave Show.
Thank you.
All right, so who are we starting with? Let me start with Elsie. Yeah. Elsie Godwin.
Okay. So my story is pretty simple. Federal FCTA, Federal Capital Territory Administration, is to bar workers from accessing their offices as from January 17 if they are unable to show proof of their vaccination against COVID-19. The Senior Special Assistant to FCT Minister on Media and Strategic Communication, Abubakar Sani, announced this in a statement on Tuesday in Abuja. Mr. Sani explained that the warning is contained in a circular signed by the FCTA Permanent Secretary Olushade Adeshola. He said that the circular was addressed to the Executive Secretary of the FCTA, all mandates secretaries and coordinator of Abuja Metropolitan Management Council. He also went on to say the circular also directed that all employees are required, to show the proof, has been forwarded to the coordinator of the Satellite Towns Development Department. So this is happening, basically. How I feel about this is still how I felt last year. Like, we don't have enough vaccines. So why do you think you have the rights to stop people from doing anything, when if every one of us come out today to say, okay, we want it, you cannot give it to us?
I take a
So,
slightly
I don't
different
know.
view to that. Was it not a few weeks ago we destroyed 1 million doses
Yes.
of the
Okay.
vaccine? So I think that
It got
there's
expired.
even
We
not-
destroyed because people were not
it
taking
just destroyed
Yes.
because it expired. People
It
were
expired,
taking
people
it.
were not
We
taking
have a commendable spread of locations for people to take vaccines across
Yeah.
the country. We've been commended for it as a nation. So the fact is people don't believe in it. Over the Christmas period, I had to insist that some family members take the vaccine because they were going to be in close proximity. And people were saying something funny things like, "Oh, will I die? Will my hair fall out?" So there's still a lack of
Seriousness.
education around it and awareness around it. And I think that the people that need it the most are the people who are in work situations. You're around a lot of people.
You go out every day.
And the thing about it is not even like, an American situation where we say people are anti-vaxxers. These are people that just lack awareness or just don't think it's important. I mean, to be fair, we've dodged the COVID bullet. So I can understand people not wanting to. So organizations, it's fair play to say, look, go and take it. What I would expect is just an extra added help them. So whether you want
that's
to
it.
organize...
Are you sure they've not done that?
Well, so that's what I'm saying. So I'm just saying that, look, I fully back any organization that says now you need to mandatory show that you have taken the vaccine.
Because
Because
we don't have
it's
enough
not, it's
of
not,
it
it's not about that.
We just got donations.
Yeah,
for
another one,
Johnson &
exactly,
Johnson
another million from
what
Greece.
country? From Greece.
Everything we have altogether, how many are they?
I agree.
I
But
agree with you, but-
if we are destroying, then I can't have the argument that says we don't have enough. The fact is people are not even taking what is available. Let's get to a point where you say, I want to take, I can't find. Then I can't.
I
Then I
think
agree
we had
with you.
cases where there's hardly anywhere you go to that you can't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
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 All right, so Milola, quickly.
Well, what I have in the news is about the women in politics come 2023. And that is very interesting for obvious reasons. UN seeks to mobilize 6 million women for voters registration exercise by first quarter 2022. And to that effect, women politicians unveil an online resource portal. Women politicians in the country on Monday in Abuja unveiled an online resource portal for women seeking elective position in the 2023 general election. The whole idea is to get more women. They believe that just doing primaries or waiting for primaries is not enough time. It's important to start gathering data, gathering network, making a platform available for women to come together and make their voices heard. So they urge the president to assent the electoral bill as soon as possible and encourage that it should allow for direct primaries. That way, each person can canvass for their own supporters to be voted into party as against waiting on delegates. So, but I guess the president has a reason for not doing that yet. But that is what I have in the news for us today.
As an honorable member.
Well, I also read that story and I like the fact that they are trying to increase the quota for elected women. I think in 2015, is it 2015 now?
20.
It was 4.7 and it was 5.2 and then it went down in the last election. So they are looking at ways
To increase
it and even
participation.
go, yeah. So
It's impressive.
There's a
And
quota, but I do not think
And
we've
UN is
ever
backing
taken
them.
that
I don't
much.
think we would because, I mean, women are quite risk averse. It's not the cleanest of games to play in. You
For
have to
women.
have the will. You have to have the network, which I think, again, we also don't actively try to. And those that do, I mean, I think that I don't know that I'd make a good politician, but I know that I'd make a good behind-the-scenes
Yeah.
Person.
player, right?
Yeah,
It's a lot of work to really.
All right, Uti, your story.
So, I mean, my headline is a bit of a, well, it's not a bit of, it is a sad one. So the former Nigerian head of state, Ernest Shonekan, died sadly today.
He was 85.
He was 85, yes. So he
That's
died.
not sad.
Well, it's sad. I mean, anybody passing is sad, but of course, he was the interim leader of the nation between August and November of 1993, between the Babangida and the Abacha regimes. And I mean, I remember that time. It was a very tense time in the country, and he was, for me, I think, seen as a peacemaker. So may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
You know something interesting about that story? He died in a hospital in Lekki.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes.
And why is that though? Okay.
My story.
Don't worry.
Because it's the first time I would see someone of
In a
that
Nigerian hospital.
level in a Nigerian hospital. Just like the way Mandela passed, he passed in South Africa. Let's start having more of those kind of things instead of flying them abroad. And all.
So the point is,
Well,
like,
Let's not have more of people
let's have more of people being treated
in
your
Nigeria.
country. So whatever the outcome is, we give God the glory. But
I think
I'm
it's
saying,
just his time. Do you want to
Yeah,
say
it was just his time.
He
Yeah.
doesn't go out of Nigeria for
But I am
medical treatment.
thinking,
Is that
no,
what
if
we're
he
going
did,
to?
I'm sure he would have, well, man gets genetically modified pig heart. World
That's
first
interesting.
transplant. This was interesting.
Yeah.
So a US man became the first person in the world to get the heart transplant from a genetically modified pig. He's 57. And they say this report is coming 3 days after the procedure, the 7-hour procedure that happened in Baltimore. And the doctor said that this was like the last hope that the man had for surviving. And so this Mr. Bennett, it's not yet clear whether there will be any complications in the future, but currently he's doing
fine.
very, very well.
Why a pig's
This
heart,
is a
though?
groundbreaking
Genetically
Modified.
modified. Yeah, not just
Well, I mean, both pigs and bovine, that's cows, parts have been used. So I
For
mean, there are
yes,
certain
for
valves
humans, yeah.
and things like that that are
Yeah, I
used.
think one was used with kidney.
yeah.
Being,
So
it
there's
wasn't completely successful.
So would you
Yeah.
consent to taking a pig genetically
If
modified?
that is your
That's
last
the
hope
last
for
hope.
survival.
Well, if you think about
I-
the fact that compared to the numbers that are needed, we have very small numbers of people
Donors.
who are donating. I mean, on this side of the world, we don't even have donors. What people do is they find a family member and they circumvent the process of, we didn't buy it,
Or
but
they will sell
somehow. No, you know, you're not allowed technically to say you bought it, but we know how things are done, and you know, people,
You can't sell your
you
heart.
fly with a family member to, what's it called, to India, and you know, one way or the other and get it done. So the fact is, when you think of, like you just said, when you think about organs like the heart, there's
You
no
can
giving
buy.
it away unless
Yeah.
you're dying.
Yeah.
So if there are alternatives
And
to
how many
it,
people would even agree that, you know what, I think I've
Once I'm gone.
I've gotten to a place where my health condition is irredeemable. Take out my heart and give it to somebody that still
no,
has
no,
a
so
chance
the
of
idea is
doesn't
that
survival.
if you're going
happen
to
on-
give
is at
your
the time
heart,
of death.
you have to have said you will donate it,
Yes.
and then at the point of
Of
death,
death, yeah.
They
if
now
you die
pick
in
up-
circumstances
That's
where
what
it
I'm saying.
can
How
be
many people
harvested.
even are willing to do that?
Yeah, so to say that
They are
I'm going to
blood.
be a
For
donor.
when you are
Yeah.
dead already.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
to say you're going to be a donor. So the
Yeah.
idea is that whilst you're alive, you register as a donor. So if you happen to be in that situation where you know your
You
organs
lose your
can be
life,
harvested, yes, they
But
can.
we don't have such data.
But we don't even have people.
Yeah.
Who, that's what I'm saying. So you don't even have that. So where you find that there's situations where people need these organs and they're not available, then technology and the medical world is going ahead to find alternatives. So the choice for you now is simple. Shall you die or shall you
be
take
a
a pig's
pig?
version?
That's it. And
It's a
the man has
simple
taken
question.
it 3 days on. He's
Yeah,
doing
but
well.
the situation is
Hopefully, we'll
interesting.
keep monitoring and see how it goes. All right, so we take
Very
a break now.
interested.
We want to ask questions. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, leadership issue is at the heart of the challenges facing Nigeria at the moment. And indeed, it is also the solution. In Nigeria today, there is excruciating poverty, insecurity, political uncertainty, bad roads, youth unemployment, and corruption, requiring creativity, innovation, decisive leadership, and people involvement to design solutions to them. Now, in order to progressively collaborate with our leaders, we will need answers to numerous questions concerning how the country, has been run up until now. So do you think Nigerians have this freedom to ask questions as regards, leadership, or ask probing questions to our leaders in Nigeria? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-8466. So I'm going to bring in the phone line later, but just give us some minutes. Let me ask my ladies.
My ladies.
So 2 things came up. I don't know if anyone saw the video of that was trending on social media of the governor, right? It was at a radio station where a radio presenter had asked him what had happened to some flyover that he was building. And his response was really, oh, wow. You know, like, it was interesting what he said. Elsie, can you interpret what he said, like literally?
But he sounded like he was doing you a favor.
Yeah. Thank you. And it was almost like you don't even have cars, and you are asking for.
Who are you to ask me about what I'm
doing? Like it was
I'm
almost like you are not.
You don't have money.
Yeah.
I'm getting the money. The way he's saying it, it's just you know how you're talking to your child.
So much arrogance, like
you shouldn't talk to your child like that.
No, you are not even allowed to even ask questions. So that was one on one hand. And recently, I mean, the people at the morning show on a sister station, Arise TV, this morning, they had an interview with the DG of what's his position now? He's the DG of the Tinubu campaign, and they were asking some questions around, how his source of wealth and how come they found a bullion van and all of that. And it seemed like those kind of questions. It seemed like it was like a taboo asking those questions. So if we truly understand how we can move forward, and we understand that, when even in science, it is when you probe a lot of things, that is when you actually get all those groundbreaking results that we talk about and all of that. So why are we not open, as leaders in Nigeria, why are we not open to people probing and asking us questions? What exactly is the problem?
I think we, in my own opinion, based on how you put it, in fairness to our leaders, is a function of our programming from time past. Our upbringing up until recent time doesn't allow us to ask questions. We're not wired or conditioned to question people that are supposedly in authority. Even from our parents. It's until recent time that our kids can ask us questions that will take the trouble to actually explain, how dare you ask your mother, why is this what we're having for dinner? Why can't we're not raised that way. And because of that, a large number of us do not actually even think we're within right to ask questions. And the people you want to ask questions do not expect you to actually ask those questions. I think largely is hinged on that. And again, there's a part of us that gets triggered, like you doubt my integrity, or you think I'm being funny. Is that what you're probing? There's a bit of defensive response to it, which is what I think also causes us to have that kind of response and reaction. Is
already in doubt.
People just feel that for you to ask me a question, you must be because we preempt the question.
There's an ulterior motive.
Yes, we preempt.
How do you call it in politics? My political enemies sent you.
I was having a very sincere conversation with a friend whom I believe is doing an amazing work, but I just deferred a bit or disagree with his style a little bit. And I asked him some questions, and some of the way he responded to me, I was almost hitting him. Whoa, like, back it up a bit. I mean, come on, I'm your friend here. I thought we were friends. Why are you attacking me because I'm asking you a question that's made you feel like you're, if it is you that they have sent, let me tell you so that I can go and tell them kind of response. And I'm like, it's not that deep. And he did a number on me, just put a wall for me. And I thought that a lot of people really do not trust people questioning them. And that's why they give very defensive responses, in my own thoughts, pretty much.
Absolutely.
It's also the thing as well, I think that when you question me, are you interested in my response? That's the other thing. So there's 2 points for me. One is, do I have questions that I want to ask? Do I know how to ask them? Because there is you saying that these people have come out, they're leaders, and tomorrow I want to challenge you. If I want to challenge what you're doing, do I know how? Is there a channel? Is there a way for me to do that? And then those who are being asked the questions, also the mindset. We know that we have a trust issue here when it comes to our leadership, our politicians, we have that. So technically also, when I know that you ask me a question, and unless you get the answer that you're looking for, are you interested in anything that I have to say? That is also another challenge. So I think there are many aspects to this particular issue of asking a question and receiving a response, and then agreeing or disagreeing with the response. And then if we do disagree, what happens next? I think we don't have avenues for those kind of engagements. It's not in our culture.
Continuous conversation.
Dialogue and conversation. We don't have it.
So I was going to let me come to Elsie. Do these leaders understand? Because I mean, myself and Uti were driving and we were talking about the concept of servant leadership, right? If you understand the concept of servant leadership, right, you would know that there is no boundary when it comes to what the people you serve are supposed to expect from you, or how
Supposed to question you about.
question you. There's no boundary as to you can't tell the people that you're serving that don't go there. Because if you are a servant, put yourself as a servant in the position of your lords. If the Lord says jump, you ask how high. You don't do anything
Until
it's a question.
But you don't
we are
see
talking
themselves
about.
as servants.
That's where we are coming to.
I like to Elsie respond before I give my own.
Go ahead.
Why are you passing the ball? I
Go ahead.
think there should be boundaries. Trust me, Nigerians are not the kind of people you give unrestricted access to. And not because we are not human, but because if you are seeing what goes on social media, let's take social media as an example, in the way people talk to people and shred people and tear them into pieces. If we do not have some measure of control around how to engage people, Nigerians have a tendency to abuse it. People don't even do their research before they ask questions. Sometimes the kind of question they ask, you wonder, you would want to, sorry darling, you would want to ask them, do you even understand the subject matter? Because some of these questions are totally off point. And it doesn't mean that you can ask questions or probe leaders or expect them to be more transparent. There's a high level of lack of accountability in our system. And that's because we're not wired and we're not structured to really put, it's just like the debate. When they set up debate, how many of those debates really do they do justice to? I believe we should hold our leaders accountable. I believe we should set up forums that allow them to explain to us. Those are what the town hall meetings are for, but really, beyond just coming to do announcement and all those things, I do not think they're adequately utilized. But should we put measure and control in place? Yes, we should. We cannot just allow without...
For have people who have free
to just
rein.
talk without caution,
Okay,
or just because you are my follower and I'm your leader, and because of that, you just throw me some question that makes me look like, hello, excuse me, sir. Are we all right?
I feel like since the beginning of our resumption of Who Is This year, I've been on communication sets, so I feel like I'm repeating myself, right? But I hear culture, and I know it's a thing. Like she said, we were not raised to ask questions, and we're beginning to unlearn, relearn, get better. But again, we were sitting down and we decided that we wanted to copy the American style of leadership, right? We left British. We said it's Americans that we want to copy. And I don't like the idea of us deciding to emulate this role of leadership when it suits our personal agenda, right? It's easy for our governments to mention China when they want to do something that is going to hinder community. Remember one caller we had last week was saying something about our mindset and the fact that we've had years of military ruling.
That was devolved.
And and it's also affecting the way we see things and the way we think things should be. So if you're going to say you have democracy and you were in today, right? Forget about our president now. Him not saying the right things or responding the right way. There are people that would be around him, and these lapses would not be very obvious, right? The way they will respond to questions, you won't even need to right? But because we have the person we have there at the moment, it just seems like it is us against them, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Are we allowed to ask questions? Yes, we are. Sometimes I agree that the questions are sometimes unreasonable, especially from people who are actually not in the position to ask those questions, because as much as we say there should be questioning and all that, it's not everybody that should be asking questions. If the whole 200 million Nigerians come out to start asking questions, then how many would you answer? There are people that are supposed to ask these questions
on behalf of the
yes, and then when they even go out of line, you see other people that want to call them into order to say, why would you be asking this kind of question? Did you not do your research? So I'm even going to ignore those set of people, those that are making noise on social media and insulting people, because I feel like if you want to get result or the proper response, then you should know how to ask the right questions. You cannot insult a person because he is your servant leader, however I want to put it. You cannot use derogatory terms because you think that
was what Uti was trying to explain.
Yes, I elected you there, then
so I have the right to talk down on you.
And that is what I see a lot on social
young
media.
people doing, yes.
Not necessarily young people, because I've seen people that you think.
So, but I think it's a perspective of frustration. First of all, on social media, the great thing about social media is it's nameless, it's faceless. You can write anything. There are questions people will ask on social media. Dare I say you're standing in front of the person, you will never say it, right? So I tend to not even think about social media, right?
Okay.
But the people who will have the gall to say, I'm standing in front of you and I'll ask this question, sometimes I like to think towards the motivation, right? And which is why I say that people need to even be educated and understand. All 200 million people cannot question the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But there are stages and there's a hierarchy in government. Whether it's your councillor down the street, whether it's your honorable, whether it's your senator, do people even understand what to ask and to who? And what they are expecting to get back? So, because,
So I was going somewhere with that in terms of what we took from the Americans now in terms of leadership. If you want to say, let's even look at the media and how the government responds to media, and that's exchange you watched today. I don't want to believe, and nobody can even convince me that Nigerian media has hard questions than a CNN or a BBC when they are sitting face to face with even the president of America. It doesn't happen because they ask hard questions. But even when those questions are hard and you don't want to respond, and like you said, if they are ready to listen to what you have to say, there are ways to still make your point. And even people watching would be the ones to say, Oga, your question is too much now, he has answered you. But here, don't ask me that kind of question. There's a kind of question you shouldn't ask. I'm not supposed to be accountable to you. I'm your president, so whatever I say to you should be what it is. Which was why I was commending the interview with Channels TV, the last one that they actually tried to do follow-up questions, because you realize that they will be asking this certain question, he's responding to something else, and she had to bring him back to say, no, this is what we are saying, this is the pulse of the people, this is what we're talking about. And for him to even say something around, I don't know where you got your figures from, when he is actually giving you figures that the layman on the streets knows about their transactions of your own economy, and you're saying he got it from somewhere. So again, like I said yesterday, this is not even about one person or about this administration. We've seen it over the years. We've seen that idea that whatever I do should be what it is, and you cannot question it. So that is why I am there doing you a favor, which was the vibe that Governor Ikpeazu was giving.
That's why this conversation is even happening. I hear the phone lines are already buzzing, but you know what? Let's just go on a very short break. There was something Uti had mentioned while we were driving. I would like her to bring it back up. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. If you just tuned in, it's our Ladies' Night Out, and we are focusing on asking this question that are Nigerians freely, or are they truly free to ask our leaders questions? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Our phone line is now open, is 07025007749. Please turn off the volume of your television set while you're ready to talk to us so we can hear ourselves. If you don't do so, we will cut you off, please. Don't let us cut you off. We really want to hear what you have to say. So the number again is 07025007749. All right, so, while we were having a drive, myself and Uti, when we were coming, part of the question that I think it was Rufai Husseini that asked the DG for, what's his name, Tinubu's campaign, he asked him a question that how much does the person, Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how much does he earn? And Uti had a very interesting perspective,
How does he earn from what?
That, like, how did he make his money? I think that was the question. Sorry. How did he make his money? How did he make this much wealth? That's the question. Sorry, Uti.
So, my take is simple. Like you referenced, Elsie, about things that we take from the Americas or abroad. Most people in Nigeria, you don't know how they make their money. One of the outcries we had last year, 2022 now. In 2020 was the idea that young people were being questioned about why they're walking around with the latest iPhones and all of that. And my take is always simple. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If you don't want to tell me how you made your money, then why you expect him to tell you how you made your money? I know he wants to become a leader, so you say accountability and all of that, blah, blah, blah. But
young people were not being questioned, they were being profiled.
Profiled, questioned, semantics, tomato. The fact is somebody was asking. Yes, somebody was asking. Somebody was making an inference.
If I come to you to harass you to say,
bring your phone, let me check your account.
And tell you, then I start knowing that's
simple. Let me say you don't want to be asked, and I'm like, if you don't want to ask, then you also shouldn't ask. The fact is, are you ready
also to be open to those kind of questions? But let me take
want anybody to tell you how you got your phone.
Supposed to stop you.
Let me take Peter.
That's not their job.
Let me take Peter.
Yes, your harassment.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, Peter. Thank you for calling.
You guys are looking very good, all of you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get to the conversation. We cannot ask our leaders questions because the country itself is a failed nation.
What?
Because all the questions we've been asking our leaders, let me even narrow it down to this year, for the last 6 months or for the last 1 year. We asked questions for the EndSARS protest. We asked questions for the Ikoyi building that collapsed. We've been asking questions on the subsidy. Is there truly subsidy? And recently the semester issue. Nigerians are always asking questions. The reason why we're even having this power to ask this question is the invention of the social media space. Take your mind back to 25 years or 30 years back of the military era. The dark ages of Sani Abacha. The way forward is simple. We as citizens don't even know our rights. And the leaders that came out from the citizenship as a country that are exhibiting this bad character, it will snowball one day. Whereby inevitably we will not decide that enough is enough. Impunity is so much. I'll give you an example. In my state, Edo State, I called my governor a sole administrator because there is no House of Assembly, no local government chairman, or even recently the appointed commissioner. We've been asking questions and nobody will answer you. Abraham Lincoln once said that true peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice. Nigeria will change one by break happens during our time.
Hey,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What he said about subsidy. This is always funny to me when this conversation starts. Remember Occupy Your Jota? Be where did you occupy?
Where did you occupy?
Why did that thing happen? Was it not because of subsidy? And it was happening. Then that was like how many years ago? That's 10.
Yeah.
I was way younger than I am now, yeah. But at that point, I understood that subsidy needed to go. But people were at Ojota following our presidents of now, right? And lining up and shouting and chanting. And at the end of the day, they shall let the subsidy for them. The same subsidy that this our president is chanting to remove. So like you said rightfully, what are we even asking for? Do we even know what we need? And there's something is called where you have to suffer a bit to begin to enjoy the benefits.
Delayed
and now is the
gratification.
longest time to, well, I mean, please continue.
Because I mean, even on this story of subsidy, people will tell you, if this is the one I'm getting now, let me continue to get it. Whether in the long term it harms us or not, then people don't even care. But you see, that's the thing. So we already agree. I think we can all agree on this table, and everybody agrees to a certain extent with Peter that our leaders have gotten to a point where they don't need to be questioned. I wasn't particularly...
They don't need to be questioned?
Yes, that they feel that they don't need to be questioned.
Okay.
In everything that stood out for me in our president's interview was the point where he said nobody should ask me questions once he's out of office. I don't know if you remember that little part that he's made sure he's documented everything. I mean, if you have documented it, there's nothing that says I can't call you to ask for clarity. So yes, nobody, I think, will disagree. At least I don't think any of the ladies on the table here will disagree that our leaders don't like to be questioned.
Why?
We know.
Let me take Suleiman from Bauchi.
I'll tell you why.
Are you there? Thank you for calling. You're live.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Please, I want to ask 3 questions
Okay.
to Auntie Uti. My questions are, 1, what does she think will happen when the Lekki seaport is completed by September? And when...
I have one question for you, and it's simple. Please, what is the intent of this question so that it can help the answer?
You know, we are talking about asking our leaders questions. And I believe all of you there, you are part of the leadership of this country. You are the elite. So, and most of the time when you bring
Goody on the table
to the studio, I get enlightened and I enjoy her when she talks.
Thank you.
Okay, so you want her to enlighten you?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
On the effect of all those projects on the economy of Nigeria.
So let us not, thank you, Suleiman. Let's not behave like our leaders that feel that there's always an ulterior motive for a question. So Uti, please.
Do justice
to that question.
In fact, I wonder, because when he was asking the question, Elsie beat me to the point, because I was going to say, what is the objective of the question? Because, again, are you trying to be sarcastic? Is it rhetorical? Is it, because for me, the first thing was, these are big ifs. And we know that when we talk about these projects, it becomes 1 year, it's 2 years, it's 3 years, it's 4 years. On the top of it, if all these projects are completed, of course it's going to have a positive impact on the economy.
Definitely.
But the if is the big question.
And let us even say, Suleiman, we want to agree with you in faith that the dates that you have stated, the dates you have stated, we want to see those projects completed, right? Because we are tired of having repetitive projects being quoted in our budget year in, year out. So we will be so happy, and it will impact our economy greatly. So it will be a plus for the economy if that happens.
But if it happens, does it mean that we cannot ask questions again? Because that's why I was asking.
I was going to come.
So exactly, because
let's even come back to this, why we're asking questions. You mentioned something very strong, which was part of what I was saying, that why are you agitated as a president saying that nobody should call you back? Me. So now we already know that part of the biggest challenges we have in Nigeria are padded budgets, where you see that if it is me and you, our hard-earned money we want to use to do this project, we will use 50,000 naira to do the project. But because it is government money, we are not, the boldness at which...
It's like 500 million.
You are in my spirit. We will use boldness. You can even quote 5 billion on a 50,000 naira project.
Some of the projects
the
that
point
I see and the quotes.
Why it is alarming.
You know, my first question, I'm like, my mama build us. So.
Please, is this amount
really just... So that's my point. So that is why we are supposed to be asking questions. The local government council person, you understand, we're supposed to ask him, what exactly are you doing for your community? But it seems like we are not allowed as Nigerians to ask questions.
Part of what I think is why he appeared like that is our level of education and information is very limited.
Who, in which direction?
How much of information? Not
how much can we handle?
How much of information are released in the public domain to guide the kind of questions we would ask? Trust me, everything that has been done in such a way that you will need to have a bit of understanding and clarity of the subject matter for you to ask the right questions. Otherwise, you just sound like you're talking off point.
It's recently that it became legal for you to actually ask them for data and mandate
some of those data were not even in the public space. Trust me, we just follow government and we listen. We're just like a receiver All we're supposed to do is just to
follow
listen
it,
to
yeah.
what they do and what they say they're doing.
They don't even expect you to listen.
They do not provide enough information that guides even our understanding of the event.
You are coming to where I was trying to land. They don't even expect you to listen, because to listen implies that you talk. Do you recall at the beginning of that interview when they were giving the intro and they explained how in the entire President Buhari administration, how many times has he spoken to us? You can actually count it.
Do you
know what I mean? Exactly. Yes. You can actually count it. So it is that you think that
you're doing me a favor.
You were saying so, because I said something when we were getting ready today. I said one of the things that I respect the most, or I liked the most, about the Governor Fashola regime. I can't speak for others. That was a time when I worked there. And I remember being at his 100-day in office. And at the time when, what's it called now? Oshodi was being cleared. I remember thinking, when he first came out, he was like, signboard, take signboards down, do this, do that. And I'm thinking, what has all of this got to do with Lagos State?
Yes.
With governance, it didn't make any sense at the time, because I was abroad and I was hearing it and it didn't make sense. But I was in that town hall that day and I heard him break down the economic impact of Oshodi as it was. It was a groundbreaking experience for me.
Thank you.
So the reality of it is, our leaders are not even ready to put themselves in positions where they can even explain what they're doing. Because if I have some insight into the why, then we can come to what Lola is saying about the types of questions that we ask. Because now I have some insight into your thought process. So I create an opportunity that says, look, I have an opportunity for you to engage with me. It's not that social media, you have some governors online on Twitter, they respond to some things or whatever. But we don't even have those channels where we say that these leaders are putting themselves out for you to question them. But then even we as a people, I want to really hammer on this, because we also have to educate ourselves.
That's part of what
we have to understand that, look, where are my avenues for asking questions? What is the obligation of my counselor to me, to my House of Rep, to my senator?
And let me even say that even when we are asking questions, I mean, Elsie touched on it, and I think Uti as well touched on it. Even when we are asking questions, right? Let's not come like we are here for war. There is you have to apply emotional intelligence, communicating with anybody, any human being. Because normally, there's a way you would communicate with me, Uti, I will bring out all my resistance.
See, there's a bit.
You will hit a brick wall with me.
That is largely because there's an assumption of there's something we assume as leaders, and you only need to be in position of leadership to have a bit of understanding as to why there's a high sense of perceived arrogance and sense of superiority. And I think that's where some of this question and answer reaction stems from. There's always a bit of, why would you talk to me like that kind of reaction? And really, you would need to understand where that is coming from. I think it comes with the paraphernalia of office and the part of where we're supposed to be servant leaders, where we're supposed to be accessible. And it doesn't just play out in politics, it plays out in every sector of the economy. Look into the church. How much of access do you have to your general overseers? How much of questioning can you do on even the funding that is generated within the church space? Now, it's easier for us to talk about politics because that seems to be like our general purse. But there's a lot of funds that go into a lot of coffers, a lot of organizations that even the leader, even in companies,
church will tell you
even in companies, can your staff ask you to do an audit and expect you to explain? If I've been working in this organization for this number of time, can the CEO come and explain what you're doing with the fund?
Break it down.
Yes. We are not an accounting system in terms of people. We do not expect our people or our subordinates to actually question us. We're not wired that way. And I think with repetitive action like this, we start to become less protective and less defensive in the way we respond or react to question and answer sessions. I think it's gradually, with social media, it has helped a lot in making people think that you owe us an explanation.
Okay, let me take Mark from Lagos. Are you there? Thank you for calling. Mark, are you there? Oh, we lost him. Okay, so let's take some comments.
Okay, this one says, I think Milola captured the topic perfectly. We were conditioned to respect our elders and leaders, not to question them. The adage, what an elder sees while
While
sitting,
sitting down.
a child won't see
When he
save,
climbs the
even if
tree.
he climbs to the top of the tree,
That's right.
is and was meant to silence the younger ones from asking questions. In my opinion, this in a way hampers our growth. Things are changing though, but with strong resistance from elder and leaders. We all saw what happened with NSAS. We can inculcate the practice of asking questions from our home.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Betty.
That's a good contribution.
So this is from Bissy, and it says, "Good evening, ladies. Happy New Year. It's really pathetic that our leaders and people in positions feel they are alpha and omega. We always forget that power is transient. Why should we be angry if you're asked to give a breakdown of how you spend public funds? This is not only peculiar to political leaders, but even small groups. Sometimes when you ask a lot of questions, you're singled out for victimization in workplaces and even families. The change should start from us. We need to learn how to be accountable, knowing that public funds are not our personal money."
Thank you.
On point.
I actually like that
Beautiful.
we took it a bit away
Exactly,
from
from
politics.
politics,
'Cause,
yes.
Although this question
Omo,
was
when Milola
direct,
mentioned church, I say, yeah.
yeah, church is one.
There's a
Even
lot
with
of
still
organizations.
since we always like to use NSAS as a point in case, even with the NSAS funds, there is still
When they
drama.
called the-
And when they ask questions, the people that are supposed to answer these questions, see tomorrow, are telling you, I gave my time and my all. You don't have the right to ask me questions.
So where's that
So-
supposedly open fund and
Do you
explanation?
understand?
After a while, we really never know where it went again.
At some point, we even heard those that are asking for these explanations are not the ones who donated the money.
Ah.
So it is not just
So
an-
culturally, we don't have.
We don't have a
So how do we
culture.
move forward?
But
We keep trying.
So then how do we also ask the right questions? What are we supposed to have to equip ourselves?
Information in a public space is very critical for us to make significant progress. And I think really we need to do more of debating. Just like when we were in school, we used to do debate, and there's a lot of question back and forth. We need to create avenues and platforms that enables people to really explain. And we should stop torchlighting leaders in politics. Let's take it down to. So, because sometimes I will find myself telling my staff without being asked, I don't touch the business money. I only get salary just like every other person. And nobody asks me what I do because actually it's my business. But I find myself explaining myself to them, even without anybody prompting or asking me that question. Because I feel that they have a right to understand what I'm doing with the business funds as they contribute their sweat equity to the growth of that brand. When we become that responsible enough to explain without being asked, it would limit people probing us questions and asking foolish
Let me take
questions.
Udem from Abuja, then I'll come back to you, Uti. Are you there? Thank you for calling. Hello? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, taking a cue from the lady, the third lady from the right, from you.
Milola.
There are two perspectives, right? In asking questions, have we bothered to ask or confirm that leaders, besides the fact that they have their public life, they have a personal life? And also, in asking questions too in Nigeria, most times we forget that we have extant laws protecting these leaders. So when you're asking questions, you should question also the validity of the constitution that protects these leaders. Who passed these laws? How were the laws passed? Because if I'm asking questions, then I should be able to define where does the personal life of this leader begin and where does his public life begin. That's my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you, Oded. Thank you.
there's the argument that says that once you become a public leader, nothing is private anymore.
Private anymore.
What I was going to say was, just in terms of, for me, where we move from here. One, I always say that leadership is a skill. It's one that you actually learn and develop. And part of it is communication. So if you don't want to be questioned, speak up. Tell us what you're doing.
That's what, yeah.
Tell us what went wrong. Tell us what went right. And I keep saying it. Education is, knowledge is power, as cliche as that may sound. But the reality of it is, I remember post the NSAS protest and all of that, everybody was like, go and learn the Constitution. It was flying everywhere. There were webinars, the people, lawyers coming out, holding all of that. And then it went flat.
Do you know how big that Constitution is?
But it's true, and that's
And
what
the
our just
terminology sometimes is a
let's
struggle.
know.
So you have to know.
But you must have a willingness. You can't tell me that document
What
is too
part of the
bulky.
Constitution?
No, so but you have to start somewhere, which is why I said that, look, if you go and search the Constitution, even for a section that is important to you, and learn it, if we all did that, we
You'll
would
be
be in a
better
far
informed.
better place. Because let me tell you the problem. I will say it, and I will keep saying it, because people have dragged me. We are all in this political talk. 2023 is here. Our future honorable is here.
Yes. So.
Knowledge is power. We need to understand the way the system works. We need to know what our responsibilities are and what to ask of our leaders. You cannot ask questions when you don't even know what you should be asking.
That's exactly my concern.
It is important that we start to all take responsibility for
For
this Federal
our
Republic of
self-development.
Nigeria.
Thank you.
And know that you have a part to play. It's not about continuous
Just
voter registration. If they give you the choice between the devil and the deep blue sea, you are still in hot frying pan. So go and learn, and go and find people that will actually, because we like to talk, we don't all like to come up. It's not easy to be a leader. So let people to stand up and get up and say, you know what, I'm coming out like our honorable to make a difference. It's very simple.
We should move.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, there's no time.
There's no time. I
It's
think.
a very
quiet
interesting
for now.
conversation.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it would really do this much justice, because for me, I thought, what are we going to talk about?
You know,
this
so the thing is,
conversation?
even on seeing the topic alone, people just feel like we're here to attack leaders. No. The goal is, and I like how you're wrapping the conversation, we are not responsible.
As citizens.
Yes, we are not responsible.
But
Because you see,
that's
you
an
can-
offshoot of the citizens.
No, forget that one. We
all
understand.
of us are not responsible.
We know. No,
She
that's
doesn't
already
want to
given.
take-
I didn't
Because she doesn't want to take it alone. We have to share.
You have to share.
That's why I said I don't want to
behavior.
respond,
See,
but there's no time.
Elsie.
Because I wanted to say, what is that question? I
Elsie.
mean, in this scheme of conversation and communication with our leaders, point one question that we have asked that you
Elsie,
say,
hold on.
it's not in our right to ask that
Elsie, hold
question.
on.
Elsie,
Me,
let's go
we are
back
all
to the-
hoodlums. My point is, it's true, 2023 is upon us, right? Because a lot of political conversations, and there will be a lot of propagandas going on, where people are trying to attack a person and,
that's
all
it.
of that. That's not our... So you have to
Information.
be intelligent, and you have to be equipped with the right information so that you are asking the right questions. Are we free to ask our leaders questions? Yes, we are. But I think we are also very, very ignorant
That's it.
as to what to ask
Questions
those
to
leaders.
ask.
So we need to be prepared. So
And
that's
there's
why we will
something-
not meet. Let me tell you something. There's a way a British man, you know, say Uti is trained in the British land. There's a way a British man will tell you to go to hell. You look forward to going to hell. That is the kind of intelligence that we want to be able to bring when we are demonstrating and asking questions, right? Those are the kinds of things I want young people to start to do. As opposed to insulting people and being so unruly on social media. We don't need that. I think on
Thank
that
you.
note.
We've come to the end of
Thank
the
you,
show.
ladies. Today is a thank you day. And thank you to all the wonderful people that called. The ones that we couldn't pick your call, we are sorry. But thank you again, all the same. Thank you, Uti. Thank you, Damilola, Milola, Tiwa Online. And thank you, Elsie Godwin. All right, so before we go, I said this yesterday, I will say it again. Penny Tree, in partnership with Waze, will be reserving 20 slots, right, for people who sign up on their Penn Exclusive Associate Program. All you have to do is mention that you watched it on Waze, and you stand the chance to earn 200,000 naira, over 200,000 naira. You would earn that money clean once you mention that you watched on Waze. So they are reserving 20 slots for all our young viewers. You have to be between the ages of, what's that age again now? We'll look for it. 18 to 35, yes. So please go on their, go on social media and just follow them and see how you can apply. It's a fantastic program, and it's a clean way to earn decent money. So that when they ask you, how are you making your money, you can show them. Simple. All right, so ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at PlusTvAfrica. You can drop a comment, interact with us further, and follow all our social media engagements. Like, share, invite your family and friends to watch and follow us. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. The essence of statesmanship is not a rigid adherence to the past, but a prudent and probing concern for the future. We are concerned about the future of Nigeria.
We
So
are
when we are
concerned about
asking
the
the
future of
questions,
Nigeria,
please
genuinely
know
and
that
sincerely.
it's for statesmanship and for one Nigeria and for the future
For the
of our
federal
great country.
character.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen.
Ciao.
Enjoy.
For a lot of people, the Nigerian dream is to leave the country onto greener pastures. But the irony is the treacherous experiences they have to face to get to these so-called greener pastures. Just like the stories of Azu and many who were tricked into what they thought was a better life, in fact, turns out to be the worst experience they never dreamt of.